Is the music being played continuously, or is it for me like that, leaving? I can't hear clearly.
Yes, I too can
Yeah.
hear breaks.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I've stopped it now. Is that all right? All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for joining in. It is so lovely to see so many faces, so many newer people, so many familiar people in the space today. Thank you for taking out time on this Sunday morning and a heartfelt welcome to each one of you. We have people here today who are joining us from different cities, from different states, countries, time zones, and everybody sharing one intention to explore how the arts can open doors to inclusion, to connection, to belonging. And that's what brings us all together. This morning's gathering is very special. We have a very wonderfully diverse group here. We have artists, educators, counselors, therapists, psychologists, special educators, school leaders, parents, students, social workers, and professionals from different fields, all united together here today. And it's also extra special because today we are celebrating a milestone that means a great deal to us in Snehadara. We're here to mark the launch of the 10th batch of the Arts Practices for Inclusion course, which is a one of its kind program that utilizes the power of creative arts to achieve therapeutic outcomes, fostering inclusive learning, and enhancing social and emotional well being within marginalized communities. 9 batches of practitioners have taken this work into classrooms, therapy centers, hospitals, old age homes, community spaces, and many other spaces that need it. And each time they've left those spaces more inclusive than before. So today is both a celebration as well as a conversation. We will look back at where all of this started, where all this began, what we've learned along the way, and how each one of us, me, everybody on with their videos, off with their videos, each one of us, regardless of our background, can become part of this growing movement. A few gentle rules and disclaimers for the webinar. We would request that you keep your mics on mute just to make sure that there's not too much disturbance of sound. Um, Please, if you would like to, you can pin the speaker as well. Um, the other thing is that this meeting will be recorded in case you drop off, if there's an internet connection issue or something. We will be sharing the entire recording over here. Through the webinar, if you have questions, please feel free to type them in the chat as we go, and we'll make sure to take it either at that point of time or later at the end of the webinar. Um, Please do come with your videos on. It'll be lovely to see more faces. It'll be lovely to see more people. Thank you. I love how as soon as we say, please come with your videos on, there are a few videos that turn on. So thank you for that. And now, without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Gitanjali G. Govindrajan, who is the founder and executive director of Snehadara Foundation and the program director of API. She's quite literally the brains and the heart behind this movement to take over and speak more about Snehadara and about the course. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. That was a very sweet welcome to everyone. And yes, I will also keep telling you, keep your videos on. What could this be? Sunday morning, there's an organization which essentially has nothing else to do, which calls us at 11 o'clock and also insists, stay with your videos on and stay with us for the next 90 minutes. Oh God, my heart goes out to all of you. But having said that, a warm welcome to all of you who are present here. I'm so glad you're here. You being here also makes us here. So each of you who have registered, some of you are still joining in. So we are giving in some Sunday morning concessions. There could be repetition of something that you've heard now, suddenly when you see the participant numbers have increased, I may go back on a rewind mode and repeat that for some who need to hear. So you'll have to bear with us. This isn't a formal lecture. This is a shared circle. This is a space for all of us to pause, to listen, to reimagine what inclusion could mean if we choose to look at it differently. You could have your own reasons to be here today. The most common reason in this is, if you do a poll, is we don't even know why we are here. It's a free webinar. We thought we'll attend it. There may be something here. Even then you're here. So it's a very big thing for us that you're here. So my invitation to you would be to just give yourself some permissions to be challenged, or be as critical as you can about this, because what we are presenting to you is a way in which we felt we can be with each other. It's a way which is a course now. It's a well-designed course which is well accredited, and it's in its 10th batch. But honestly, for us, this course is a story. It's our discovery which says there is a way in which we have to be with each other. And maybe we've forgotten. And if we start being with each other in a certain way, maybe we better our relationships with ourselves. So there is something in this today for every one of us, whether you do the course or you don't do the course, although we'll do some hardcore marketing, but that's towards the end of this talk maybe. So I'm going to begin with just telling you a story. I mean, my Mullah Nasruddin has been one of our favorite characters who keep coming in every batch. So I'm going to get you to rest back and just listen to this story. One evening, this Mullah Nasruddin was on his hands and knees under a street lamp, and he was frantically searching for something. A passerby who looked at him said, "Mullah, what are you looking for?" And Mullah said, "I'm looking for my key. I've lost my key." And the passerby said, "Okay, do you remember where you lost your key?" And Mullah said, yeah, I remember clearly. I lost my key inside my house." And the passerby said, "Then, if you lost your key inside your house, why are you looking for it here?" Mullah said, "I'm looking for it here because the light is here. That's the reason why I'm looking for my key here." Now we may laugh at this. It sounds like, really, isn't it so obvious? But in many ways, this is how we are. As a society, we look for understanding. We search where the light already shines. We look for what is familiar. We look for what is labeled. We look for what is easy to see. But what if the key we are searching for, this key to connection, this key to belonging, this key to justice, actually lies in the shadows, in places we haven't looked, in people we haven't listened to yet? So today's conversation is about that, about stepping away from the lamppost and looking into spaces where new light can emerge. Now, given my background in teaching and lecturing, the slightest opportunity I get, I like to pelo gyan. So I like to give little things that I know also. So in between, I'll start giving some jargons. But more importantly, something that stayed with me is the way we experience each other as human beings. The only whatever mode we have is a language, and language can be so limiting. Forget Hindi ho, Tamil ho, English ho. And also, अगर यहाँ पे कोई है जिनको switch चाहिए हिंदी में, तो please chat box में डाल दीजिए. थोड़ा सा कुछ तमिल में nudge चाहिए तो आप डाल सकते हो. Wherever you can, we will try and switch a bit. But having said that, today, that language, whatever is that language, is all that we know. And isme, if you and I don't know the same language, then there's another problem. So today, assuming that you're not understanding what I'm saying, all that you're going to understand is by looking at me, the way I'm nodding, the intonations, little bit upar niche. When I'm saying something like this, means, acha, there's something in this which is so. Within the fine print of language, is another language, the language of the connections we make. So going back to a little bit of definitions, we engage with words through either denotations or connotations. Now, what is a denotation? Denotation is a dictionary meaning. Okay, this means this. Inclusion का मतलब है हम साथ साथ हैं, सबको साथ लेके चलना, which is basically Suraj Barjatia's film. Take everybody along, include everybody. That's the way we have understood it. I am hyperactive. Like एक जमाने में they would say बच्चा बहुत hyperactive है. Now hyperactivity has become something. No, so our dictionary agreed meaning is denotation. Connotation is the emotions we carry with these words. Even if inclusion means taking everybody along, what is my relationship with inclusion? That's the connotation. So words like diversity, equity, inclusion, if there are any corporates here, we do corporate trainings. DEI is a big word. Trump did a little bit of Google with it, but never mind. A lot of funding to DEI projects in India have got stalled. But having said that, I'm hoping someone from there is listening. But DE and I are not just definitions. DE and I, diversity, equity, and inclusion, they carry histories, they carry emotions, they carry stories, they carry power in ways that we don't know. So, what we will try and do is, instead of defining these, how do we feel these words? Like now, many of you may be psychologists here, many of you may be practitioners, art practitioners. We always say that, can you separate the art from the artist? Robin Williams, who made the world laugh, had his own story. So in such a situation, today's exercise is, before we get into anything, and having said that, this is not reverse psychology, whether you choose to do this course or no, each time you're exercising a choice, can you run those choices through some of these things that we're going to explore together today? So if we talk about this neurodiversity, because now everyone, neurodiversity, I think until 3-4 years ago, I'm also part of like some summits and all where I also talk about neurodiversity. But honestly, this is a very acquired language for me. Like neurodiversity. Then I learned there's another word called neurotypical. Means there's some golden standard. We all, if any deviation from that golden standard makes you diverse. And then we say, wow, in diversity, there is celebration. What we are attempting to do with this course is, can we question that golden standard itself? Who are these neurotypical? Who sit in a class, pay attention. If you can multitask, you can take notes, you can periodically nod your head and pay attention. If you reach on time, you do a lot of things, all of those are these neurotypical standards set by society. There's a premium on golden standards. Now, if you're not fitting into this, then you're neurodiverse. If you think about it very simplistically, that's what it's going to be, right? So if I don't fit into, if I'm somebody who cannot sit in one place with my back straight and listening to the teacher and copy down every word on the board, then I'm a deviation. And today we have medicalized deficit. The minute there is somebody who's deviating from a neurotypical standard, it's a deficit that is medicalized, pathologized, labeled, and then comes हमारी रोजी रोटी तो वहीं से तो आती है ना. Then comes all we practitioners, कोई भी हो, art practitioner, any practitioner. But the point is, we have a bigger role to play. We have a role to play that, can we try and hold some of these labels which are important, but a bit lightly? Neurodiversity is like, what is that? Like rainforest, biodiversity. If all trees were of the same height, I don't know too much of that. I just use the word biodiversity right now, but I'm thinking it means everybody else, trees, plants, everything. If everything was of the same size, then what would it be like? A rainforest would never thrive. If all of us were similar, would never thrive. mean, if all our fingers were of the same height, I don't think it would have any utility value for us. So we are actually only geared to be prepared for diversity. So what is happening right now is हम ना उल्टा चला रहे हैं अपने lives को. We were meant to be diverse. We understand only diversity. Suddenly we have got educated and mainstreamed with some golden standard rule. So right now everyone's going on reverse gear. And then we are discovering it's like when Haldi Doodh came as turmeric latte in Starbucks, the world woke up to, my God, antiseptic in a bottle, medium, small, large. It's already here, right? When Dandiya, Garba, Ras Leela, Kadai Kalakshamam, when all of that came up into expressive arts and community storytelling, we woke up, the nation woke up. क्योंकि अच्छे दिन आए हैं, nation woke up. अभी ये क्या है? There's something, and this is something we're sitting with. We know only the language of love. We know only to love and care. Somebody trips in front of us, we will reach out. We just don't know any other language. Everything else that we know now is what we have acquired. So you can look at API as a deacquisition process. We've acquired all the things that we didn't need. Now let's get to the things that we actually require. I'm going to spend a lot of time in sharing the intent and the essence of this. And then we'll get to the brass tacks of the course. So if some of you are sitting on the edge of the chair to say, what is the course fee? Can you tell us quickly? And what is the requirement? And is there installments? Don't worry about that. We'll get to that later. I will only tell you whether you should do this course or no. But for that, let's understand a few things. Because if this does not resonate with you, then this is not the course for you. This course is saying, are you ready to do like a complete overhauling of the way we are looking at ourselves, caring for ourselves, and caring for society? So all these words you would have got in our webinar poster, no, change makers, one of its kind. This is, we have to do like that. I mean, it's important. This only catches your attention. But it's like a visiting card. कुछ तो it's like when they write ना एक butter के साथ दूसरा butter free. That free catches your attention. So right now only free has caught your attention. Whether you need butter or jam is a different story. So let's look at it like that. When we talk about neurodiversity in the understanding now, like the denotation is a variation in the brain, autism, ADHD, dyslexia, all of these, dysgraphia, all of this comes under this newly coined definition of neurodiversity. Whatever that would mean, what is the connotation of it? The connotation, think about people in the autism spectrum, ADHD, dyslexia, you may know many names, and now many movies are also there to better make us understand. Connotation in its feelings means celebration, means creativity, means difference. So one more story I'll tell you. See, this Mullah Nasruddin is such an egoistic guy. If I don't keep talking about him now, he gets annoyed. So I have to keep bringing him back. So I'll tell you one more thing what happened with Mullah Nasruddin. One day he was standing in the middle of one town square and pointing to the sky and shouting, the moon is gone, the moon is gone, the moon is gone. It's gone away, gone away, gone away. Now people looked up and laughed and they said, what is wrong with you? It's right here. Why are you saying the moon has gone away? Now he smiled and he said, okay, where I'm standing, I couldn't see it. So neurodiversity is like that moon. It's always been there. It's just that we weren't standing in the right place to see it. It's always there. When we shift our stance, our sight changes. And neurodiversity tells us that there is nothing called normal brain. Normalcy itself is so overrated. What is this normal? What is this new normal that we're talking about? The problem isn't that neurodivergent people can't fit the system. The problem is that the systems are very narrow. So our job, for those of you who are attending this course, this webinar, and then maybe doing the course, our job is to heal out these systems, but not heal out it with power, heal out it with love. Believing that you didn't know this all along. And that is what this is about. And when you start looking at it from the angle of connotation, it's not about fixing people. We can't fix people. We are all standing, 46 of us are examples of nobody can fix us. Each of us have a very strong sense of why we are and how we are. Despite all of us, many of us in therapy, counseling, would always hear, if you have practices going on, spiritual practices, any students of Buddhism would always hear, hold your sense of self lightly. What selflessness of self and phenomena. Despite all that. So we are classic capability demonstrations that people can be fixed because we can be fixed. So this is not about fixing people. It's about reimagining the world around them. So you can't fix me today. I am Ladus only. I mean, I keep saying I'm the most accommodative. I'd like to believe, but clearly not. So you can't fix me. But what you can do is, can you give me experiences that make me feel that actually I'm not as accommodating as I think? Don't fix me. Allow me to land on these myself. So inclusion again, because our course is arts practices for inclusion. Inclusion is the act, denotation is the act of including those who are otherwise excluded. So by definition, the more we talk about inclusion, I feel the more we're talking about exclusion. So inclusion, basically, there are a set of people, there are a set of systems, there are a set of things that we don't include in our lives. And inclusion is about making them a part of our world who are otherwise excluded. But what is the denotation of what is the connotation of inclusion? The connotation of inclusion, input very simplistically, there's a lot written there, but if you look at it very simply, the connotation of inclusion is warmth, belonging, fairness, freedom, intentionality. This is what inclusion means. And if I look at inclusion with warmth, belonging, fairness, and intentionality, then I'm accessing inclusion better. I don't ask questions of fairness from a space of justice and activism. I ask from a space of intentionality and warmth. Any person who's not included makes a difference to me. I feel a deficit in my life. That is what looking at it through the lens of connotation would mean. Now, I told you now, this Mullah Nasruddin, after the moon, what he did, he decided to rent one donkey. He had a donkey, decided to rent his donkey to a traveler. And he'd keep on saying, I'm so generous, I have no attachments. And somebody wanted a donkey, so he rented his donkey to the traveler. When the traveler sat in its shadow to rest, Nasruddin pointed out and he protested. He said, hello, you rented only the donkey. How can you be resting in the donkey's shadow? Now they argued so loudly that they ended up in court. Now for us, so many of our systems do this. They tick box inclusion. But they forget to ask, did the person feel seen? Did the person feel heard? Did this person feel safe? Did they belong? Now, for us, those are questions that inclusion is forcing us to ask. It isn't a checklist. So I am an inclusive school. True that. I have infrastructure in many places which are inclusion. And now, of course, there are a lot of accessibility audits, and there are some great organizations doing fantastic work on accessibility and infrastructure. But common man's understanding of inclusion is, does this building have a ramp? And the ramp also is at such an angle that I don't know Even if the person on the wheelchair manages to come down the ramp, the one pushing it, I wonder if he'll land on a wheelchair by the time he pushes the other. Those stories are changing slowly. We are looking at inclusion as more than accessibility. I'm an inclusive school. I have a remedial center. I have special educators. Now, if there are special educators here, and given I'm told Yashu said this is going live, clearly little invitations we may get from schools also will not get after what I'm going to say. You remove special educators from schools, inclusion will automatically happen. Inclusion is not about saying that these are a set of children who need to be kept separately or taught separately or skills to be provided. Great step if we are inclusive, and that's what we call inclusive. But the question to ask here is it's not checklist. I think it's also when the RTE Act came into place, there were schools which took in children under the Act, and those children were called also separately. They had separate uniform also. इससे तो अच्छा था कि we didn't have an implementation of the Act. At least everybody stayed together. So today for us, inclusion is saying it's not a checklist. It's about presence. It's offering a freedom of choice. It's the feeling of being held. Who decides if I'm inclusive? Not a system. So it's not a policy. Inclusion is the practice of the art, of the heart. For me, heart and art, I keep saying, I get confused myself. Inclusion is the practice of the heart. Equity, one more word. This is for the sake of if there are people who are in corporate spaces, because in the API course, there's an opportunity for us to also look at this in terms of if we are in corporate careers, is there something in this for me? I may want to be an arts practitioner for inclusion, but not necessarily coming from a space of therapy, may not be for the development sector. So if it is from a sectorial point of view, I picked these examples so it helps all of us who are listening today. Equity. Equity is basically saying fairness, recognizing that different people have different needs and they respond differently. You would have seen that very prevailing image that happens of 3 children overlooking a playground of different heights, and each one gets how much they need to reach to look through the playground. So equity basically is saying everybody has different needs and we have to respond to those different needs. It's like saying today on the frame, because I can see Sumati, Crystal, and Shreya and Yashaswini are wearing spectacles. So everybody needs to wear spectacles because they can see better wearing spectacles. All of us also have to see better, but that may not be our need at all. Equity is recognizing they need it for something. They may not need it for something else. But there is a provision that if you need it, you know where to go to. So the connotation of equity is justice, is redesigning, is responsibility. Now imagine if all chairs were made for people who were 5'10". All designs of all chairs across the world. Most of these things are actually made for majorities only, but just imagine. Now, if that is the case, and if all chairs are made for people with height of 5'10", then all the shorter people will be broken. Now, would we call shorter people broken here, or what would we do? Redesign the chair. So equity says, let's redesign the chair. Arts Practices for Inclusion says, let's redesign the system that makes you feel belonged, a natural process. Now, for that, you might have to add something, you might have to remove something, right? And that whole exercise of adding, removing, offering choices, freedom, creating opportunities is what this is all about. Now, equity says redesign the chair. Inclusion says make space for everyone. And neurodiversity says celebrate each person's way of being. So that's the context of where we are today, the conversations around where we are going to be. And I think after this quite a pravachan, We might want to get to the brass of abhi bata to do ki course kya hai, who are you, what are you all doing. Snehadharafoundation.org is our website. But I'll tell you the story of Snehadhara and where it all belonged, where it all began, if you haven't heard it yet. Sumati, who's on this frame, is the person who gave the organization its name. Snehadhara gets its name as an offering by Sumati. She also gave us a home and a space today where our campus is built in Nelamangala. But this story of Snehadhara started in 2012. I'm going to tell this story a little bit for everyone because I believe each one of us are an institution in ourselves. Each one of us have a capacity to build systems, organizations, societies, and universes. So it's good to know that setting an organization is not so difficult. So I'm going to tell you, I mean, now this is the other grass is greener on the other side story, but I'll tell you why it all began and what came from it. Like, are these people who have a 10-year, 20-year trajectory? Do they work on a work plan? All that is a different, that and all we learned when we had to talk to corporates. We are very heart wale, dil wale log. That's why our name is also Sneha only. But Snehadhara gets its name from the first child, Sneha, with whom I learned what special needs is about. Actually, from whom I learned what love is about. I met Sneha when she was 2.5 years in a regular play home. And my first lesson on inclusion was it was a play home of 5 to 6 year old. And 5 to 6 year old children can be such brats. So I was given to handle that one class. My savior and co-facilitator in that space was Sneha. Because Sneha being different, Sneha being less abled than them, actually put their discipline on check. So they were doing little less badmashi than these 5, 6 year olds do. Even if they were running and pulling things and all of that, whenever Sneha was around, they would say, no, 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 we all have to take care of Sneha. So my first lesson on inclusion was Sneha, that having someone different teaches us to expand our heart. We learn to love, we learn to allow only because that person is different. I can't extend the same theory to my mother-in-law and all. I tried it many years later. Of course, that expansion happened, but that was the starting. So Sneha was that little bite which said inclusion means this. We started in a very modest 3 bedroom, like an independent bungalow in Bangalore, and with a simple question saying, how do we create spaces for many more Snehas? Because Sneha today, we went for a year of finding out which school we could take her to, where could she go, but each school had its own reservations. Everybody was very welcoming. Everybody was, oh, we understand, oh, poor thing, this child, but I don't think we are ready. I don't think we can help, because we were told that Sneha would be like a vegetable who would hardly be able to do anything. But her parents, like every other parent, as long as she lives, wanted her to be a part of a normal school. A normal school is a school with uniform, a school where I feel I'm also a parent, like every other parent. After that 1 year's journey with Rajita and Sunil, came back home and said, no, this is not working. It requires a call for action. It requires a space for us to redefine normalcy. It requires a space for just Sneha to learn. Cut into 6.5 years of Sneha. By 6.5 years, Sneha was speaking 5 Indian languages, was a chatterbox, learned everything through songs and stories. Is our claim to fame the arts courses that we teach? No. Our claim to fame here is we provided a space where we believed that to connect to Snehas and many other Snehas, we need to have a language that allows them to look at learning disability not as treatment. Can we create inclusive, non-threatening learning spaces for all? That was the first vision mission statement. Any organizational heads in this, you know how much we've broken our head to write that vision mission statement. वो correct होना चाहिए, some 14 words, 15 words, this, that. and all that. Full heart and dil goes there. Now, thanks to ChatGPT, we can get to 13, 14 words. That was the first. How do we build non-threatening, inclusive spaces of care? That was the starting. Now, to build something which is non-threatening, inclusive, and which also takes care of a multimodal approach, we had to choose the methodology. And both Sumati and I are students of WCCL Foundation, where we've done the art space therapy course. And we felt, wow, the arts is that buffet. Some children may enjoy music, some may enjoy dance, some may enjoy play, some may enjoy stories, some may enjoy theater. So we began with thinking, ki, wow, this is the way we will approach it. Then we realized that all of us are an artist. There's an artist in each one of us. Our heart is beating rhythmically. We're drummers. Drama, Nautanki, storytelling, so we have learned from, I don't know, from time immemorial. You can almost predict that tomorrow we'll have a headache if we have a submission. You can almost predict what it's going to be. We used to have stomach aches when we had exams and all that. So theater, drama, music, dance, very natural. Have a heartbreak, walk into a discotheque. I, for the longest time, felt breakup song was made for me only. So we've all had access to this. So then the questions we asked were different. See, there are things we have access to. We're not using that. Maybe this becomes the tool with which we engage with this methodology. So that was a simple question, which then grew into a movement. We are 13 years now, and now we're looking at what does it mean to reimagine the mainstream itself. So Snehadhara stands on 4 pillars. We have a direct care facility, a campus in Nelamangala. All of you are welcome to come visit. That campus runs residential programs on answering the what after me question for parents. A program called Uhuru, which supports children and adults with special needs. We also have one-on-one sessions that happen in the city. We work with government schools. The second vertical is Impart, with which we work with schools, caregivers, educators. There are short programs that we do. We do a lot of work with colleges. Then within Impart is Creative Connections, which takes arts to corporates, to NGOs. Now, lately, last 3 years, I've been working in the DEI and space. And of course, Pragyadhara, which is our learning and training wing, which offers the arts practices for inclusion course. And also we aspire to do talks from various teachers on mind training. And that's the Pragyadhara vertical. So the course that we offer today that we're going to be talking to you about is in this Pragyadhara wing. So through these, over the last 13 years, we have touched over 75,000 lives through direct and indirect interventions. 3,000 professionals partnered and worked in about 8 countries. Again, while it's a success story, and if it was a live talk, like a physical live talk, this would be the moment for all of us to clap. But having said that, the reason I'm saying this is, it doesn't take a lot to get here. What it takes is to show up each day. To show up each day to the promise that I would like to create the society that I want to live in. I would like to be the mover. If you haven't read Atlas Shrugged, I would like to be the motor of my world. I would like to create this for many, 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 many other children, seen, unseen, children, adults. So all put nicely, it's a very selfish agenda plan. Because I keep telling people who work with me, this is what we do and we actually get paid for it. Life is quite a party because we don't know who's helping whom. In all of this, are we offering these spaces of care? Yes, we're doing all of that. But who's getting benefited in this is the question. So this is the overall of Snehadhara. API birthed in 2018 after offering a few batches, I think 3 batches of the ABT course. We had 62 practitioners who trained in based therapy. And then we started asking a different set of questions. There were some very beautifully painful causes and conditions that pushed us to step back, look at where we are set out on, what do we want to do differently. And after, I think by 2013, after having worked with children, adults, caregivers, one thing we saw, Sumati and I, was the power of the arts. We knew that children who didn't speak suddenly started singing. They started using music, became a better way of communication. Personally, we found many artistic tools that helped us navigate our own lives. Adults who felt invisible started finding a space to belong in the drum circles. But we also felt something was missing. While therapy could touch the individual, we needed to touch the system. See, we are very greedy people, very greedy for outcomes. Now this happened, na? Now what to say, fast track it. Like thanks to that WhatsApp into 2x, 3x and all that, na? One is working, we understood, abhi 2x mode mein. How do we now, okay, if individuals are benefiting, many individuals is a collective. If collectives come together, systems can be transformed. So API is that halla bol actually, where we said if we train facilitators, practitioners, leaders to take arts into their communities, then we're not talking about therapy, we're talking about social practice. And today, society needs a compassionate social practice. So this is how it was born. The course was launched first in Argentina, and then we brought it to India. I was invited for some seminar in Argentina. Some people who saw some of our programs and said we would benefit from here the most. And I also realized that some international launch ke baad the nation wakes up to us na. So we did that international launch first. It just happened that it was at a talk and they offered saying, would you like to, after your talk, launch your course here? We would be very happy to have it launched here. It worked. Some of these things are like win-win. It works for us. So it began there, though that was not really the plan. Then we brought it to India. That was a year of COVID. We still ran our batches, and then to Nepal and Sri Lanka. Since 2019, 170 practitioners have joined this journey. And this has spanned working in systems in education, healthcare, corporate leadership, and community work. So API now, Arts Practices for Inclusion, that 1-year course, which now comes the marketing spiel. This is not just a course. It's a way of seeing. It changes how we look at difference, how we hold space, how we listen. It reminds us that inclusion is not something we do for others. It's something we create with them. So the essence of the course, I mean, we were very kicked, and I think for all of us who, I've said this before, if you think about it a little bit, as I say these things, see if it resonates with you. Before we learned to read, we sang. Whatever language, it could be your parent language, could be some. I don't speak Kannada so much, but I can sing in Kannada. So we figured like, wow, there are a lot of data points already. We don't have to reinvent something. We're just going to meet something that already exists. Before we wrote, we painted as a society. Before we spoke, we actually moved. So the arts has always been humanity's first language. And it's never demanded perfection. It's demanded presence. So a child may drum their heartbeat when words fail. A woman could paint her grief in color. A group of employees could rediscover empathy not through PowerPoints, but through play. That's the essence of API. API weaves philosophy, neuroscience, Eastern wisdom, and the arts into a living practice where creativity becomes social change. So at its heart of it, it's individual moving from individual healing to collective belonging, making the movement from therapy to transformation, moving it from arts for some to arts for all. It's about building ecosystems where every person, regardless of their background, has the freedom to belong. API's 10th batch or API itself is not Snehadhara's need. It is, we need a full batch, but besides that, it's not Snehadhara's need. It is society's needs. In a world that marginalizes differences, that medicalizes deficit, we need movements that listen to unheard voices. API is that movement, born from the arts, growing through practice, and sustained by the community. So at the core of it, what does this course teach you? इसमें कुछ पढ़ाते हैं कि नहीं, or do we just have these kind of talks? So all of that is a 1,000-mark, very well designed science of the art course. Students have not cleared the course, so all of that rigor continues to be. But here, the 3 dimensions that we touch on is cognitive, emotional, and social growth, inclusion and belonging, psychosocial well-being. So how do we look at this integration? And the whole course is designed like that. My colleagues who are here, I don't know why I said colleagues, because I've been talking about corporates. My team, faculty, my go-to home that's here will also explain to you some of the nuances of the course. But we're looking at this should call out to people who feel they want to integrate scientific insights into best practices. How do we combine art-based therapeutic methods with a deeper understanding of human development? It could call out to people who want to be practitioners, who are trained to create impact through scale and context-sensitive approaches, not necessarily numbers. And fostering change agents. How do we want to look at relocating resources we have and work within resources of every community? Why does this matter? It matters because it addresses the unique needs of marginalized population while promoting a broader social equity. So when we establish a sustainable model like this, we feel that it helps us integrate into both educational and community systems. So through API, communities are taught how to work with the arts, and each of them will talk about it. When I say arts, it is music, movement, story, play, drama, drumming, theater. It's multi-art forms. It's not art means visual art, the 3 mountains, 1 sun, 2 crow, which is global understanding of art. It's a lot more. Practitioners facilitate intersubjectivity while we look at fostering unity, respecting individual agency. That's at the heart of the course. That's the science of the arts. It's not an alternative to logic at all. There's a lot of logic and science to it. There's a lot of it. It's an expansion. So we're not teaching this as a soft skill. It is a complementary health practice. It's not just an alternate. It's not a soft skill. We're teaching this as a human skill, a way of learning that connects the mind, the body, and the collective heart. So today, as we open the launch of the 10th batch of API, we're not launching a course. We're hoping we're continuing a movement that says inclusion is not an act of charity, but an act of courage. I'm going to take a pause, invite you to step away from the lamppost, to look for the key where it's dark, to listen where it's silent, and find meaning where it's messy. And as you do that, I invite the course faculty, my very dear friends, co-travelers, teachers. Sumati has been my supervisor and she's been my teacher. Sumati, Crystal, and Sindhu, who are here to share their reflections on the many worlds and possibilities of API. I think I'm overshooting time I have, but sorry, bear with me. We'll run you through this and then jump into what you want. We have videos to show you what it is, but I think we'll use this space to talk to you and direct you to these videos, which are on our website as well. So over to you all in the order of whatever.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I just have another 5 minutes to say good morning. So I would like to just briefly explain a little bit the differences between these different therapies or such. People often ask us how API is different from expressive arts therapy or arts-based therapy. So a quick comparison. Expressive arts therapy uses multiple art forms for self-expression and healing, which basically results in individual growth. We have the arts-based therapy, or ABT, which uses structured evidence-based arts for therapeutic goals, which works towards clinical and emotional healing. And then we have API, which uses arts as tools for inclusion and social change, which creates systemic transformation. So ABT heals individuals, API transforms systems. It's not therapy, it's practice for inclusion. And as I think Gitanjali mentioned, it is for those who want to basically reimagine classrooms, teams, or communities as living, breathing, inclusive spaces. I've been part of this. I was an ABT student back in 2017-18, and then was invited to move into this space of faculty for the API course, and have been part of this team since the beginning of the API course. I personally use API with people who have been sexually abused as children. I ran a home for abused pregnant teenagers, and that was definitely a space where these girls need to feel a sense of belonging, since they've been pushed away from society, and it's been absolutely wonderful to use it with these survivors of sexual abuse. Yeah. I think I'm passing over the baton to Sumati.
Thank you, Christelle. Okay, this is Sumati here, and Gitu spoke very lovingly about all the work that has been done so far and my role in it also. And the journey to ABT was, I mean, it was almost organic. It just happened the way we moved and then decided that here we need a course which does a little more, which looks at systems, which looks at communities, and looks at the individual in the community. And what I think, what touches me most about the course is like the Mullah Nasruddin story about the moon. Yes, about not sighting the moon. It is about discovering where you're standing and looking at perceptions, looking at the biases we come with, looking at the conditioning we come with. And all this contributes, I think, to the way we look at the world. And it brings more than changing that, it's about just understanding where I am in this and what kind of a role I can play if I'm just aware of all this baggage that I come with. And yes, now about the brass tacks about the course. It's the API course is a 1-year course, and it's a certificate program. It's designed to equip practitioners to use the art forms to build inclusive, equitable, and compassionate spaces. We've spoken about this before. Gitanjali has given you a brief on all this. And this course is not just about theoretical work being done there, it's practice. And that practice, it sort of equips you like a superhero would be, you know, that cape there. And what does that cape actually mean. We use paintbrushes and bring in visual art. We use drums and voices to sing and play music. We move our bodies and bring in dance. We use drama and we use play. So these are our tools that we use in the API course. But then remember, it's not just about fun and having a good time, like some of these conferences. At the end of it, yeah, you have a good feeling. Okay, I've had a good time over here. But next what? We also focus on the next what. You have to do sessions with your groups. So this course, we have the taught modules which are there. You sit down, it's like a classroom setting. You've got the theory being given to you, you've got the practice being given to you also. So you have this self experience that you go through. You experience the art form, you see what the art form does to you. And I think that is the biggest learning, because once you experience it and you see what it does to you, it then translates into what I can do to the other than using this art form. Yeah. So that's what the practical assignments which are there, the practical experiences that we give you during the course. Then there are assignments. Some of my students are also here in this group. They might be cringing, but no, they're very exciting assignments. Okay. So interesting assignments which actually push you to introspect a little further, to look at your own journey, to see how this particular thing, what is it doing to me? And what can I get from this? That's what the assignment does to me. And because I think that first, the container that we are needs to be a clean container, or sort of, at least I realize, okay, where is the mug sitting? At the most, that much. Okay, if I'm aware of that, and then I can bring in much more changes to the marginalized population that I am dealing with. Then there is a lot of self-study. So there is reading, there is some amount of research work that you need to do. You need to read up on that. So the self-study part of it is also there. And finally, it culminates with a community-based project, which I think is very precious, because it takes all the learning that has been done, all the work on the self that has been done, your experience of the group that you're working with, then moving on to the community and seeing, okay, what's the impact? What impact has my sessions done to the group that I have been working with in a community? So it takes it as far as that, starting with the individual self, seeing how they're working in a group, and then moving on to, okay, outside of this comfort zone of this group where I've been, how am I experiencing the community, or how is the community experiencing me? That's what it does. Then there are 2 residential contact sessions in Bangalore every year. One contact session happens in February and one contact session in June. Now, please note down, the dates are ready. It's 7th February to 13th February in 2026. And then the second contact session is 6th June to 12th June 2026. So this will be the contact program. Yes. Okay, yes, the contact details, the contact session details, it will be posted to you also. So the first one is 7th February to 13th February. The second contact session, 6th June to 12th June, a residential program where you come and stay with us. And believe me, it's transformative. Okay. So in between, we have, of course, classes. We don't leave you like that. Okay. So we have online classes every month. We have them one particular day of the month, and we reflect on what are the challenges you're facing, and you're free to come up with what you're going through and what help you need together. And other topics are, other than some amount of coursework is also done, and some amount of other work also, again, self-reflective. So that's also worked on during the online session. Yes. So that in brief is the course, and we've got sessions all day. So that's why we make it mandatory that you come and stay with us. So there's no bunking classes. Okay. Now over to, I think Sindhu takes over now.
Thank you. Wow. Okay, it's just very exciting to talk about what I'm sharing. With all of this, just drawing from what Gitanjali and all of us have said, there are so many aspects to this course, but when we spoke about presence and creating spaces for everyone and holding each other, I think supervisions, for me personally, supervisions has been one of the most alive and, how do I say, grounding parts of the entire course. Because there are so many things. When supervision is where you have somebody assigned to you throughout the year, not just one person, you may have different faculty assigned to you, supervisors, with who you can really walk along, share what's happening in the journey. Because what you learn in those contact sessions is very exciting. I second what Sumati has said. And you're so excited to take all of that and go into that real life there with your babies, with your beneficiaries. And then it all is like, what? What is that? What did you say and what happened? But that's where supervision comes, where you're able to connect theory into practice, where you're able to break it down to bite size. And I think the supervisor, those connections, it's a reflective, intimate space where you're able to hold those questions, check in, okay, different, share perspectives with each other. And I think it's the spine, the thread that weaves this course together. And for me personally, supervisions have been very helpful. I still go back I did the course, in the first batch I did the course, and I still have my supervision reports with me, and there have been a lot of times I've gone back to it. Yeah, I think that's the supervision aspect. It is a special space, and the course is a very special course. It's not just because I have to say it, it really is. Okay, with that, over to you.
Me. It
Yeah,
comes back to me.
Gitanjali. Yeah.
Yes, we're going to tell you more about the supervision course as well, Ritu. Yes, now by this time you should be restless to say, come to the core of the matter. Abhi ye kya hai, tum log karte kya ho? No, I think we built it up enough. But see, we're all art practitioners, so we have to do this kind of storytelling. But in any case, for you to just take the note of some things, paraphrasing what Sumati, Crystal, and Sindhu said, it is a 1-year course that does not require you to leave everything and come to Bangalore. It's a 1-year course that requires you to be in the city, in the organization that you're working in, and come to Bangalore for 2 weeks in the entire year. The dates which I have noted is in Feb and in June are those dates. Besides this, everything happens in the spaces that you are. The part of the course is also to say you can't register for this course if you're not already working with vulnerable groups as a volunteer or as a professional. So there are many people who are doing other things, but would say that we want to get trained as an API practitioner because I may get to this a few years later in my life, but I would still like to. So you have to have a group with which you can practice this course. You come here for 1 week, you go through taught modules, you have your assignments, you're taught the experience of the arts. In that 1 week, there are 3 dimensions that are taught to you. One is, what are these art forms? Self-care through the art forms. And how do you facilitate and hold spaces during this with that? So you do 1 week, you go back, you finish X amount of sessions with your beneficiary group, and then you come back in June for the next set of taught sessions, which are about 52 to 54 hours of learning hours in that 1 week residential, where we hold you hostage and say, now cut out from all the distractions and just get into this time that you need for yourself. So there is a lot of rigor there. To put it in terms of its very materialistic way, can I do this course with another job that I already have? The answer is yes. How much of time do I need additional in my week because I'm so full of what I'm already doing? You need about 5 to 6 hours a week to be able to comfortably finish the requirements of the course. These 5 to 6 hours may be 2 hours of doing sessions with whichever group you identify. Example, we are working in Snehdhara with disabilities, but we decide that we want to go and offer this in an old age home. So I may identify an old age home close to my house. I will say I'll go and offer sessions in the old age home, and that becomes my beneficiary group. So you're expected to do 15 sessions between February and June with whichever group you identify. Then you come back in June, you go through assessments. We have some, like, we'll check you out, not check you out, we'll check out your understanding and practice of what you learned and practiced. In June, we equip you with tools, assessment tools, whatever's required, and then you go back to do 45 sessions. That is your term 2. So the course has 3 terms: term 1, term 2, term 3. Third term is after November, I think end of November 30th ke baad, where you do a community inclusion project. And at every stage, you have these online sessions that happen once a month that will hold it for you. And you'll also have your supervisor whose brain you can pick. If you have a kind-hearted supervisor, most of them are here. Yashu's training to be a supervisor. Sumati is one. Christelle, all of us are. Sindhu is here, where the supervisor guides you through this process also and is present for you. So the idea of doing it this way is we want within existing learning protocols of institutions to percolate this methodology. We are not saying sab chhod chhad ke start doing this. Within what you're doing, how do you hold these API sessions? And in the taught modules, we teach you how to design sessions, how to facilitate, how to document, how to kind of track the movement and the progress within this session. So you're quite well equipped for that. So that's like the core of the entire course. As a part of the course and the course entire way the course is designed, you are also given an API kit which has musical instruments, theater materials, visual art materials for you to go and practice with your beneficiary group of at least 10 people, which should be the subset with which you're working. So that's the long motto of what the course is about for you all. These are important things to share as well, because for many of us who have a skeptic mind, and you must have it, maybe these are very good talkers. I want to know what's the credibility of this course. Does anybody in the world know about this course? Or am I doing it so unique that only the esoteric world understands it? Just to answer some of those questions, this course has been globally recognized by the 100, which is the IBO, which is the IB group, and the Millennium Alliance. It has been recognized by the Millennium Alliance Global Grant. So the course does have its credibility and standing. There have been practitioners who've done this course and gone on to set up their own organizations. So there is a trajectory here. As your first step could be a practitioner, then you come in as a supervisor with us, then you move in to be faculty with us. And the supervisions are, along with this, we also, I think, once every 2 years are aspiring to run a supervisor's course so that we also train more supervisors. We have practitioners today, 170 of them, and I keep saying we've let out loose cannons. So we have to keep stalking and checking on them. So for that, we want to also build our system of our team of supervisors. So there is a lot many more ways in which we can engage beyond just doing the course. So this is the overall of the course. All details, testimonials, videos, all those links that we wanted to share with you today, because I think I really hijacked the first hour. I got a little overboard. I could have edited it got it shorter, but never mind. Having said that, all this we'll share with you in an email right after the webinar is over. And what we also want to talk about is our work is ongoing. So whether you're choosing to do the course or no, what we are launching from November onwards is something called Baitak, which is a quiet uprising, is what we call spaces, art-led spaces to just take care of yourselves for self-care and reflection. This happens once every month. So if you're in Bangalore, or if you're so skeptic that you want to see, I want to see where do these people exist at all, or if you're one of those who have to see the campus and see the orientation of the bed, and you need to know the menu before you apply for the course, all of us can be all of this, right? Then an invitation for you to join on the 29th November. There's a Baitak in the campus. It's a day-long program. That is, if you're in Bangalore or if you choose to come to Bangalore, that will also be sent to you in an email with a link for the Baitak. Now we're going to open the floor to questions. This is a good opportunity for those of you who survived us, some 38 of you, for the last 60 minutes to ask your questions. And no question is a silly question. So over to you, the floor is yours. Do we need any background to join? Yeah, the criterion to join, not in this particular order, is you could have one of these. Masters in any of the behavioral sciences, a background with psychology, sociology would be useful. If you don't have that, then you should be somebody who's coming from a field of practice. Like you could be a community-based CBR worker, you could be a social worker, you could have a background. Like I myself have a master's in biochemistry, so we made these credentials easy enough for everybody to access. You could be somebody who has none of these but are very keen on wanting to take this and go, in which case you'll go through like a interview with us, with one of us, and we will then, based on the interview and seeing if there are any connections between how you're thinking and we are, and if it's working for you, we'll tell you there and then. So we have had people who've done their masters, we've had people who are organizational heads who've done their course, we've had 60 pluses who've done the course, we've had 20 pluses who've done the course as well. So there is flexibility in that entire thing, but it's got to do with answering a few questions on why do you want to do this. Do we need to work with one group of people for all SEMs? Yes, it's a great question. First semester starts February, the minute you come for the contact session, and you will work with one group only. But for example, if I'm working in an old age home and I'm working with 10 people in the old age home, but the old age home has got 40 people, and the other 30 are also very intrigued in the sessions, then you may use these 10 for the purpose of your study and offer some sessions for the remaining 30. But you'll be able to track whether this is happening, what is this moving, if that group is constant. And we say 10, not that it's sacrosanct. Sometimes there are like people working in de-addiction centers. There could be one or two who get discharged, which is great, na? But then we feel, no, my course group is gone. No, so we keep that flexibility to say there's some core group even for you to see that, okay, it's worked with many. So that is it. You have to stay with that one group itself. The details of the course fee structure, what comes with the fee structure, all of that will be shared to you when we meet you in that one-on-one meeting. But trust me, it has been our 10th batch. We have not changed the fee structure from 2018. We have kept it accessible. We've had opportunities to also, as a part of our own funding philosophy, about 25% of your course fee, 20% is supported by individual donors. So we get people, so what gets passed on to you is also subsidized cost of the course. And within that, you have installment options and, just to make it easy for you. And we do what it takes to make it work for you, should you feel you need to do this. But we've also had many people who've said, we just returned from a world tour, we can't pay the course fee, give us scholarship. That also happens. And we also have others who say, we don't have the money, but we need to take this to our relief camps. So we make that choice together. What are the other questions? Have I missed any questions? When can you apply for the course? Just after this webinar also can apply, saying, can you have somebody connect with me? Is being an artist and an art teacher enough? Oh, it's more than enough, Ritu. How many lectures in a week? अभी ये कौन है यार, पूरा कहानी होने के बाद 2 week के lectures. We have one week in Feb, 1 week in June. That cannot be offered online. You have to come to Bangalore. So what you need to do along with the course fee is also budget your Bangalore travel, but your stay, food, materials, all that will be taken care of us. Usually last Friday of the month or Thursday of the month, Shamla, who's on this call, and Yashashwini who are the bullies of the group, fix that and tell us to come for the online course. So as faculty, we don't have too much pressure. We don't have too much flexibility and freedom of choice. We are bullied by the team, which is here, Palak, Yashu, Shamla. And all. You'll keep getting mails from Shamla. All these details will be sent. Yes, Jane, do we need to work with the same group? When can we apply, Ritu? Right after? How can we? Last date to join. Yes, our batches, because it's the 10th batch, and I don't know what it's with these numbers, but our 10th batch has admissions have already rolled out on. We announced it actually earlier. I think 18th of October we had announced the course. So some admissions, some students who have written to us from last year have already started applying for the course. We do not want a batch more than 20 people. And the beautiful part about it is not just the course, but it's the coming together of people from across the country. So last year we had 6 of them from the Manipur relief camps who were a part of the group. The year before that. So the group coming together becomes important. So we do have a filtering process on who are the people who should kind of come. We also want a diversity on, we don't want everyone working with disabilities to apply for the course. So from what I know, December 5th is Snehadhara's birthday. So we are extending our admissions until December 15th this year to get the first kind of core cohort in, and then go back to all those we have waitlisted. So the last date to join the course would be December 15th. How can we? Just write in to us expressing interest? What happens after this? One email will come. Read every mail. Don't just see all the YouTube links and see videos. Read that mail once or twice. If you want to do Baitak on 29th, register for it. And then after that, write in to us saying, I'd like somebody from the team to send me course details. We'll send you a prospectus. We'll fix up a time with you when faculty members are present to do this one interview and first check. Why do you want to do the course? Should you do the course? What are your, are there any challenges that you have? How do you see it? And once we do that, we send you the application form. We give you about 1 week, I think, to write back to us. Most times, the bigger problem that happens is you might get so intrigued by this, but you may not have an organization. So in the meeting, we'll talk to you also to understand which is the group you should work with to do this course. And we give you that time and flexibility. And then the bullies take over, Yashu and Shamla. After this webinar, they take over. I'm a special educator, CBSE school. I don't get leave for direct classes. I stay in Bangalore. No, I don't have your name, but for those 2 weeks, you'll have to take a break. June and February, that's why the dates get calendarized. And just if that helps you, many schools in Bangalore have sent their special educators to us. So we do write to them. If required, we can write to the and speak with you to apply for this. Most of the schools absorb this as a part of the learning development for the special educators. So I think based on your relationship with your coordinator and school, if it works for you, we could help you with that. But you can't come only on Sunday. That 1 week we are holding you hostage. How can we handle in a school with limited number of children with special needs? We check out the number of children who are available. Like we've had organizations like We Nurture and others who were in their stages of forming as an organization where there were only 5 or 6 children. But that's an exception. We do create a norm where we can work through that. Last date to join, can I come? Okay. Any other questions? I don't know why you all decided not to unmute and ask questions. Like everybody is typing. कोई एक जना ने type करा तो everyone's typing.
To do more voice work.
Yeah. Ma'am, there was one question, I think, a little before by Ritu about if we can expand more on the supervision aspect of the course.
Yeah, so you're assigned a supervisor who does up to 8 supervisions, no matter which part of the country you are, online, offline, where we watch your sessions, give you feedback, help you design your sessions. I'm just making it sound nice. Some of us are kind. It depends on which day is your supervision. And who help you through the course. So they'll come, they'll facilitate sessions. So it's like a buddy you're assigned within the faculty to go through that process. And Your sessions are watched. Students send us their videos of their sessions. We give feedback. We help them work through it. If some of them want to present papers or some of them are interested in research, then we try and come up together to see what. So the supervisor's role is like a buddy, who's like a bridge between the faculty and the person and the student. Please share your email ID. This is Yashu confusing me. Okay, if you've not registered. Any other questions? You are free to unmute yourself and speak as well. It's allowed. I do understand we have to be reflective and silent, but this is not the time. Is there anything on the top of the mind any of you want to share? Otherwise, I'll start tying it down.
Hi, Geetu, Kuku here.
Hey,
So I will connect back with the team a little later. Since I know the details, I shall get back with the team.
lovely, lovely. So if any of you are a part of an organization and you feel that I can take this to the organization or we can weave it within what the organization is offering, do write to us, because we have different modules that have got created when it comes to organizations. But typically in any batch, we do not take more than 2 to a maximum of 3 from the same organization, because we'd like to have a diversity of the group. So, given that there are no questions and the chats are right now being spammed by only Yashashwini, I want to be mindful of time. It's also a Sunday for all of us. Thank you so much for making inclusion a part of today by being a part of this webinar. Do you conduct one-day workshops? Yes, we do. We do. Just write in to us. We do.
मैम एक क्वेरी है कि
हाँ जी, प्लीज बोलिए, प्लीज बोलिए, कोई तो पूछ रहा है।
जो आपने पूरा सेशन लिया एक्चुअली सारा इंग्लिश में था, तो मैं बस सुन रही थी क्योंकि मेरे को कम्युनिकेशन में थोड़ा सा इंग्लिश का इशू रहता है। तो क्या ये कोर्स को एक बार आप समराइज कर देंगे, पूरा जो सेशन था इसका क्या एडमिशन का पूरा ब्रीफ में पर्पस है, ऑब्जेक्टिव है। दूसरा, जो पूरा कोर्स होगा विल इट बी इन हिंदी और किस किस लैंग्वेज में आप ये अवेलेबल करवा सकेंगे?
अच्छा, द कोर्स जो हम पढ़ाते हैं इट इज लार्जली द लैंग्वेज ऑफ द आर्ट। सो आर्ट्स कला को समझने के लिए आपको लैंग्वेज की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी। आज जो मैंने ज्ञान पेला है उसको आप अपना नंबर छोड़ दीजिए, मैं आपको पैराफ्रेज करके हिंदी में बता दूंगी कि कोर्स क्या है। जब हम पढ़ाते हैं इस चीज का भी ध्यान रखते हैं कि ग्रुप में है ऐसे पार्टिसिपेंट्स जिनके लैंग्वेजेस इंग्लिश नेसेसरली डोमिनेंट नहीं है, और मुझे भी लगता है कि इंग्लिश इज ओवररेटेड। तो फैकल्टी हिंदी, कन्नड़ा, तमिल, मलयालम में बात कर सकते हैं। तो जब हम पढ़ाते हैं, अगर कोई स्टूडेंट है जिसको मतलब इंग्लिश इज नॉट द स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट थिंग, तो देन वी स्विच। जैसे अभी हमने मणिपुर नेपाल के टीम से करे थे, तो वी हैड टू डू अ कॉम्बिनेशन। श्रीलंका के टीम के साथ इंग्लिश और तमिल में करना था। तो आपको दिक्कत नहीं होगी और आपको वो फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी भी है कि आप अपने असाइनमेंट्स को जो सबमिट करना है आप हिंदी में लिख के सबमिट कर सकते हो। तो ऐसा लैंग्वेज आपको लिमिटिंग नहीं रहेगा। बाकी कोर्सेज के जो डिटेल्स हैं, किन के लिए ये कोर्स यूजफुल रहेगा, आप जस्ट अपना नंबर छोड़ दो। यशु प्लीज टेक द नंबर एंड ईमेल आईडी। सोनू पांडे आई थिंक, या
जी।
तो टीम आपको आप चैट में अपना नंबर और ईमेल आईडी छोड़ दीजिए, आपके साथ मीटिंग फिक्स करके आपको सारी बातें समझा देंगे, और फिर हम डिसाइड भी कर सकते हैं कि ये आपके लिए है क्या और इसमें हाउ कैन यू अप्रोच इट। तो वो आपको हेल्प डेफिनेटली मिलेगी। सोनू,
ओके, तो जो स्टडी मटेरियल कुछ अगर है तो क्या वो हिंदी में होगा?
वो इंग्लिश में है बट हम ट्रांसलेट करके आपको हिंदी में दे सकते हैं। दैट्स नॉट अ थिंग, बिकॉज काफी ग्रुप्स के लिए हमने ऐसे तमिल में, अदर लैंग्वेजेस में भी किए हैं। बट बेसिक मटेरियल इसमें, स्टडी मटेरियल जो आपका है, आई थिंक दिस इज फॉर एवरी वन ऑफ यू। इट्स अ रेफरेंस मटेरियल टू गो टू, बट उसका जो मैक्सिमम स्टडी है दैट्स गोइंग टू हैपन जब आप एक हफ्ता फरवरी और एक हफ्ता जून में आओगे बैंगलोर।
ठीक
ठीक है, थैंक यू। आप ऐसी पहली आवाज है जो आज इस वेबिनार में हमारे टीम के अलावा आपने बोला। थैंक यू सो मच सोनू।
थैंक यू।
बाकी के लोग ऐसे स्माइल कर रहे हो, चैट में मैसेज छोड़ रहे हैं. थैंक यू. It made a big difference. Okay, now to all of you. Thank you for making inclusion a part of today by pausing, listening. I hope you go back listening more deeply, reimagining how we could create this world together. There's no right, there's no wrong. I hope we're all looking for the moon in the right place. I hope we're going and checking on with the right key. Also asking ourselves if we are standing in front of the wrong lamppost. So for all of you here today, let's not forget this essence. Whatever be the trajectory, whether we meet as a part of the course, Snehadara and its team awaits you with open arms and open hearts to our campus in Bangalore. So should you choose to come and be a part of just being there, do come. And we'd like to believe that nothing in life is by chance. So for all of us who are here today, maybe we are meant to hold this space together for each other. And within this, there's something that you're holding for us. Thank you for trusting us. It's very possible to create a world that fits all people, because the all people are here in this frame and not in the frame as well. So lots of love to each one of you. Thank you so much. Do stay connected. And we look forward to meeting, chancing, and co-traveling with all of you. Good luck to the team and lots of love. And now it's time for the Saturday lunch. Sunday lunch. I'm still on Saturday. Lots of love to each one of you. Thank you.